Whether you're using YouTube for marketing or for monetization, it's important to understand what some of the most effective content strategies are for you to be as successful as possible on YouTube. So when we talk about content for marketing, one of the first things that we want to look at is making sure that we know our audience and that we're producing relative content to that audience. So if you're marketing a product or service, you should have an idea of what your target market is and make sure that the content you're producing is relevant to them. We also want to make sure that we're engaging the audience and providing value. Now, we're going to talk about providing value in monetization as well, but it's also important in marketing. If you provide value to that user is going to be more likely to share the video, more likely to tell their family and friends about the product or service, and it's just going to enhance your marketing efforts. You also want to make sure that you include clear branding. So make sure that the user knows what the product or service is that you're marketing, what the company is that owns the product or service, and where they can go to find out more, which is where the call to action comes into play. It's really important, especially for marketing, to have a call to action in your video. So again, if you're promoting a product or service, where can that user go to purchase the product or service? Is there a website that they can go to? Where can they go to find out more? Can they go to your social platform, your Facebook page, to find out more? If you're marketing, you're trying to sell something, so make sure that if that user wants to buy it, they know where to go to buy it. When we talk about content for monetization, we want to provide lots and lots of value. We want to solve a problem for that user. And I'm going to talk in a few minutes about different problems that we can solve for people and some of the most effective types of content for YouTube. But for monetization, we also want to provide a reason for that viewer to come back. Are we going to have a follow-up video? Are we going to have a new video that solves a problem for the user that nobody else has solved yet? Give them a reason to come back to watch more of your videos so that you can make more money. We also want to make sure that for monetization, all of the content we're producing is 100% ours. If we have music or graphics in that content that is produced and owned by somebody else, that content might not be available to monetize on YouTube. So make sure that all the content you're producing on YouTube is 100% yours if you're using it for monetization. And then we also want to have a call to action in our monetization content as well. Obviously, we might not be selling a specific product or service, but we want those users to come back and watch more videos because we make money simply by the users viewing our videos. So provide a call to action to subscribe. Say, hey, if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate subscribing to my YouTube channel. Or if you enjoyed this video, I have similar videos coming up in the future that are even better, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those videos. Make sure that you include that call to action because the user might want to subscribe, but they just might not think about it while they're watching your video. And by you dropping that subtle line, say, hey, remember to subscribe, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, I need to subscribe so I can see more videos from this creator. So it's definitely a good idea to include that call to action in your monetization videos as well. When we're producing content on YouTube, it's important to balance the length of your video and the efficiency of your video. There are some strengths and weaknesses to longer videos and shorter videos on YouTube, and let's go ahead and talk about some of those strengths and weaknesses. For longer videos, they tend to earn more revenue. So if you're using YouTube for monetization, if you can produce a longer video, sometimes YouTube can squeeze 2 advertisements into that video and you can earn more revenue. Longer videos also provide more engagement. The user's going to watch more of your content. They're going to hear your voice or see your brand more, so hopefully it's going to be a little bit more memorable. Now, the negative aspect to longer videos is that you risk irritating your users. People on YouTube nowadays want to find the answers to their questions as quick as possible, and if you can provide that answer in 30 seconds, but you take 12 minutes, that user's probably not going to come back to watch more of your videos because they might feel like they're wasting their time. So longer videos can be good. They can make more money and they can increase your engagement. But if that longer video isn't justified by the amount of content that's inside of it, then you definitely want to make sure that you're producing a shorter video, which increases the user's perception of your brand and your YouTube channel in general, and hopefully they'll come back and watch more videos. So when we talk about shorter videos on YouTube, shorter videos, they have higher efficiency. You solve that problem in 30 seconds, that user's going to say, wow, I've been searching on the internet for 15, 20 minutes to find the answer to this problem, and this YouTube creator solved it in 30 seconds. That's great. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to like this video. I'm going to share it. So you're being really efficient with your videos, and users like that on YouTube. You might earn a little bit less revenue because it's a shorter video and YouTube can't show as many advertisements. and you're probably going to irritate those users less. If they know that when they watch your videos, there's no messing around, they watch it for 30 seconds, a minute, and their problem is solved, they're going to love that, and they're going to be more likely to subscribe. So you want to have that balance between length and efficiency on YouTube. Now, what type of content is valuable on YouTube? There are a number of different forms of content that can be successful, but I'm just going to give you a few ideas to get those juices flowing so that you can figure out what's going to be best for your YouTube channel. Content that informs or educates is always considered valuable. So talking about a topic that people are interested in. Hopefully you know your target market and you kind of have an idea of what some of their interests are. If you can educate them on some of their interests, they're going to consider that content valuable. Content that solves a problem is also always very valuable. So somebody has a question, a very specific question, how do I do an oil change on my car? That's pretty general, but it's a specific question. If you provide a video that solves that problem, the users are going to love that. That's what my core focus has been on YouTube. I solve technology problems. Now, yours is probably going to be very different, but solving any type of problem is always considered valuable and is definitely a great content strategy. Content that provides humor or comfort is also considered valuable. And if you take a look at a lot of the YouTubers that make a full-time living off of YouTube, a big majority of them are YouTubers that provide humor, and they have funny videos, and they have millions of subscribers, and they make a lot of money. So humor can definitely be considered valuable on YouTube. Content that surprises can also be considered valuable. So maybe you're doing a video that is informing or educating on a particular topic, but you come across a fact that you haven't seen anybody talk about yet. So in the middle of your video, you surprise your users by saying, hey, by the way, did you know this? And then all of a sudden, they say, wow, nobody's ever told me before. I know all about this topic, but this is something new that I learned, and I'm surprised to hear it. When that surprise happens, hopefully that user is going to share that content with their other friends and family members that are interested in the same topic, because there's no other content out there that has that particular piece that you've just added, that surprise that nobody expected. So that's definitely a good idea as well. And then content that's emotional, appealing to the emotions is always a good idea, whether you're marketing or trying to make money on YouTube. When people's emotions come into play, they're going to be more likely to remember that video and become attached to that video because now their emotions are involved. So that's definitely another way to provide value on YouTube. When you're thinking about your content strategy on YouTube, you always want to make sure that you're creating content that's in line with your core strengths. So what do you do best off of the computer? What are you most knowledgeable in? If you produce content that's related to your strengths and your knowledge, that content is just going to be more valuable just because it's what you do best. So make sure that you're definitely focusing on your strengths, your competencies, and what you're most knowledgeable in, and that content, that value will just come out of that content on YouTube. So when you're thinking about your content on YouTube, make sure that you know your users, that you know your target market, and that you're providing valuable content based on that target market. You also want to make sure that you're including a call to action, whether it's content for marketing or content for monetization. You want to make sure that you are balancing your video length with the efficiency in which you get to the point in your videos. And always make sure that you're taking advantage of your core competencies so that you can be as successful as possible on YouTube.